Hey, if you love stories that cut deep, hit subscribe now so you don't miss a single twist. Trust me, you'll want to see how this one ends. I never imagined that a single key turn could unravel my world. I was standing outside the front door, my hand still on the doorknob, the cold metal biting into my skin, and the muffled thump of bass from inside vibrating through the walls. My chest felt like it was being crushed with invisible hands. The party lights flickered against the blinds, casting jagged shadows across the living room. And there she was, or rather, the echoes of her laughter, mingling with a stranger's voice. Every instinct screamed at me to intervene, to storm in, but part of me froze, unsure if I was ready for what I'd find. I remembered the small signs, the late-night whispers on the phone, the casual glances at her screen I tried to dismiss as paranoia. But tonight, as the music pulsed and her voice rang out, those whispers became screams I couldn't ignore. My fingers tightened around the keys in my pocket, and in a moment of reckless clarity, I did it. I locked the door from the outside. For a heartbeat, I imagined her confusion, the slight panic that would flash in her eyes when she realized she couldn't get back in. I thought of it as punishment, a way to reclaim some control over the chaos she'd brought into our home. But control is an illusion, I learned, the moment her phone rang. Her name flashed on the screen. I hesitated. The phone vibrated, and I answered, voice taut. "Where are you?" I demanded. "Locked out," she said, her tone carefully casual, almost teasing. My stomach dropped. That wasn't the voice of someone who had merely forgotten her keys. That was a voice hiding something, dancing around truths too big to admit. I heard the faint scrape of furniture, the clinking of glasses, and then unmistakably, a male laugh, deep, intimate, familiar. My hands shook, the phone pressed to my ear. "Who's there?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, but the trembling betrayed me. "Just a friend," she replied too quickly, too lightly. "Why? Are you worried?" "Don't lie to me," I hissed, and for the first time her laughter faltered. A silence stretched across the line, thick and suffocating. I could hear her inhale sharply, a sound heavy with guilt. "You don't understand," she whispered finally, almost pleading. "It's not what you think." My vision blurred. My chest tightened. I wanted to throw the phone against the wall, scream until the walls themselves shivered, but instead, I sank onto the cold concrete of our porch, the keys slipping through my fingers. I had known betrayal could exist in stories, in movies, in whispers, but never so vividly, so painfully in my own home. The truth clawed at me in fragments. The lipstick stain on her coffee mug, the faint scent of another man's cologne in our bed, the sudden attentiveness to her phone that I'd shrugged off as habit. Every detail, every small deception, had been a breadcrumb leading to this crushing reality. "Why?" I managed finally, my voice breaking, the simple word carrying the weight of every sleepless night, every shadowed doubt, every silent plea for honesty. Her silence was louder than any answer. Then almost cruelly she said, "Maybe we've been living different lives and you just didn't notice." I wanted to argue, to demand explanations, to tear apart the layers of lies and rebuild what had been shattered. But I couldn't. All I could do was feel the betrayal like a physical blow, each heartbeat echoing the hollow space where trust had lived. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had lost its meaning. I stayed on the porch, listening to the faint echoes of laughter inside, feeling the slow, corrosive burn of understanding settle into my bones. And when the music finally died down and the door clicked open from the inside, I didn't move. I let her step out, watched her eyes search mine for something, apology, anger, recognition, and found only the jagged mirror of my own grief staring back. "You can't just do this," she said, voice trembling now, human at last. "You can't lock me out." "I can," I whispered, my voice low, almost reverent in its sorrow. And I did. Because I needed to see it for myself. Because I needed to know. She looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time, I saw her fear, the same raw vulnerability I'd always thought was mine alone. But it was too late. The door had already closed between us. Not the literal one, but the one forged by betrayal, doubt, and the undeniable fracture of what we used to call love. I stayed on the porch that night long after she left, the air thick with tension, silence, and the acrid sting of cigarette smoke from the neighbor's yard. The keys still lay in my palm, cold and heavy, a reminder that some locks are irreversible. And I realized then that love, no matter how deep, can be shattered in moments, sometimes by choices, sometimes by chance, sometimes by the quiet betrayal of someone you thought you knew. I whispered her name once, then let it go, the sound swallowed by the night. Trust had been broken, hearts had been fractured, and in the silence that followed, I understood. Some doors, once locked, can never be opened again.